So it's a kind of a hilarious question to say, like, what drew you to the material? Is that, like, I didn't realize that I was reading lines with Dopey?
Rachel Zegler's dream role as Snow White quickly spiraled into a real-life nightmare, sparking outrage that could end her career. Her bold statements and casting controversy ignited a social media firestorm, leading her on a desperate apology tour. But instead of extinguishing the flames, it only made things worse. How did a fairy tale role turn into such a catastrophe? A dream role turned nightmare. In Hollywood, where dreams can be made or broken quickly, young actress Rachel Zegler found herself at the center of a major controversy that threatened to derail her rising career. Her casting as Snow White in Disney's live-action remake of the classic fairy tale led to a storm of criticism, revealing the difficulties of managing fame, social media, and the fine line between personal views and professional duties. This situation not only showed the struggles young actors face in today's digital world, but also sparked wider discussions about adaptations, fan influence, and the changing entertainment landscape. What happens when a dream role becomes a nightmare? Rachel Zegler, who gained fame from her role in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, seemed set for great things when she was cast as Snow White in Disney's eagerly awaited live-action remake. The original 1937 animated film is a landmark in cinema history as Disney's first full-length animated feature, making it a huge deal for anyone taking on such an iconic role. However, what should have been a career-defining moment for Zegler quickly spiraled into a public relations nightmare that would test her resilience and potentially jeopardize the very project she had been chosen to lead. Could a role meant to elevate a career actually bring it crashing down? The casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White ignited a wave of racist backlash, with critics arguing that Zegler, of Colombian and Polish heritage, didn't match the character's iconic description of having skin as white as snow. This criticism centered around the belief that Zegler wasn't pale enough for the role, sparking heated debates on social media. In response, Zegler took to X, formerly Twitter, to address the controversy, expressing her desire to avoid engaging in what she deemed nonsensical discourse surrounding her casting. She shared a heartfelt post featuring childhood photos of herself dressed as a princess, emphasizing her belief that every child, regardless of their background, should feel empowered to envision themselves as a princess. Can an actress's heritage overshadow her role in a fairy tale classic? Despite the criticism, Zegler expressed pride in portraying a Latina princess, highlighting that Snow White holds significant cultural importance in Spanish-speaking countries. The upcoming Snow White remake has notably dropped "and the Seven Dwarfs" from its title, reflecting a significant change in the portrayal of Snow White's companions. Only one actor with dwarfism will appear in the film, with the other 6 characters being played by non-dwarf actors. Could dropping "and the Seven Dwarfs" from the title be Disney's biggest mistake? This decision sparked backlash from both sides. Some criticized the absence of dwarfs, while others were uncomfortable with continuing the portrayal of 7 dwarfs at all. Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage voiced his disapproval, calling it a backward story, and expressing surprise that Disney would cast a Latina Snow White while still telling the story of dwarfs. In response, Disney clarified that they were taking a different approach to avoid reinforcing stereotypes and had consulted with the dwarfism community. However, Dinklage's comments led to further controversy as actors with dwarfism criticized the decision, fearing the loss of future roles. A classic reimagined. The Daily Wire's announcement of their own Snow White adaptation has sparked a dramatic shift in the conversation surrounding the classic fairy tale. Unlike Disney's controversial remake, which has faced backlash for its modern political themes and significant deviations from the original story, the Daily Wire's version promises a return to the roots of the beloved 1937 tale. Fans are electrified by the prospect of a faithful homage that honors the timeless charm of the original, creating a sharp contrast to the growing discontent with Disney's reimagined approach. Is the Daily Wire's adaptation tapping into a deep-seated nostalgia that Disney's remake seems to have missed? Brett Cooper's casting as Snow White in the Daily Wire's remake has added fuel to the excitement, offering a refreshing yet loyal portrayal of the iconic character. Known for her dynamic screen presence and respect for classic narratives, Cooper is poised to deliver a performance that captures the heart and spirit of the original fairy tale. This casting choice stands in stark contrast to the controversy surrounding Disney's Snow White, where the portrayal and modernization of the character have been criticized by many fans and commentators. Cooper's involvement promises to restore the classic charm and authenticity that some believe Disney's version has lost. As Disney's modern twist on Snow White faces criticism, is the Daily Wire's return to the classic tale exactly what audiences have been craving? The positive reaction to the Daily Wire's adaptation highlights a growing desire among audiences for a genuine return to the original story. While Disney's remake has been criticized for its departure from the traditional narrative and its modern political undertones, the Daily Wire's version is resonating deeply with fans who yearn for a more faithful retelling. As anticipation builds, it's clear that the Daily Wire's approach is striking a chord with viewers who feel that the magic of Snow White is best preserved by honoring its classic origins, rather than altering it for contemporary sensibilities. Nostalgia versus modernization. Is Disney's latest remake just another nostalgia-driven money grab? Many fans and critics often view Disney's live-action remakes as mere cash grabs, nostalgia-fueled attempts to capitalize on millennial love for classic films, with little regard for the original artistry. This criticism has been amplified by reactionary content creators who mix anti-woke rhetoric with fan grievances, creating a toxic discourse around films like Snow White. While adaptations of 90s classics like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin found relative success in live action, Disney has struggled to reimagine its older masterpieces, including Dumbo, Pinocchio, and now Snow White. These films, crafted more than 80 years ago, reflect cultural values of their time, making modern adaptations a difficult balancing act in an era of evolving societal expectations. How did Zegler's vision for a feminist Snow White turn into a lightning rod for controversy? The spark that ignited this firestorm came in the form of comments Zegler made during promotional interviews for the film. In various public statements, the young actress expressed views that were perceived as critical of the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs animated feature, particularly regarding the portrayal of the prince and Snow White herself. Zegler suggested that the new adaptation would take a more modern, feminist approach to the story, reimagining Snow White as a character with greater agency and aspirations beyond finding her prince charming. While her intentions may have been to highlight the progress made in storytelling and character development since 1937, her words struck a nerve with fans of the classic tale and industry veterans alike. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly back in December, Rachel Zegler revealed that she was never a fan of the original Snow White film. She admitted she was scared of the original version, saying that she had watched it once and never picked it up again. This statement underscored her personal disconnect with Disney's 1937 animated classic and hinted at her preference for a more modern take on the story, something the upcoming remake aims to deliver. Speaking with Variety in September, Zegler elaborated on the significant changes made to the story in the new adaptation. She pointed out how times have evolved, stating that it's no longer 1937, and emphasized that Snow White's character would be different. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, Zegler explained. This modern interpretation positions Snow White as a more empowered character, focused on leadership rather than romance. What did Rachel Zegler reveal about Prince Charming that has sparked a heated debate among fans and critics? At the D23 Expo, Zegler further discussed the role of Prince Charming, critiquing his portrayal in the original film. She called him a guy who literally stalks her, adding that part of the story felt weird. Zegler assured fans that they didn't do that this time in the remake, suggesting a more progressive narrative. She even joked about the possibility of Prince Charming's scenes being edited out, saying, "Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby." These comments highlight the film's departure from traditional fairy tale tropes and its attempt to align with contemporary values. Fans of the original film accused Zegler of disrespecting a beloved classic and misunderstanding its cultural significance. Critics argued that her interpretation of feminism was shallow, promoting a girl boss archetype that many found reductive and out of touch with more nuanced understandings of gender equality. Controversy, apologies, and backlash. The backlash was swift and severe, spreading like wildfire across social media platforms and entertainment news outlets. Defenders of traditional fairy tales and their portrayals of femininity pushed back against what they saw as an unnecessary and heavy-handed attempt to modernize a timeless story. They argued that there's nothing inherently anti-feminist about a character who embodies qualities like kindness, nurturing, and the desire for love. These critics contended that true feminism allows for a diversity of female experiences and aspirations, including those who might choose more traditional paths. Did Zegler's comments cross a line, prompting a furious response from the Disney legacy and its defenders? Perhaps most damagingly, Zegler's comments were seen by many as unprofessional and disrespectful to the legacy of Walt Disney and the animators who created the groundbreaking 1937 film. In an industry built on respect for its pioneers and a reverence for classic works, such perceived slights can have serious consequences. The controversy reached new heights when David Hand, son of one of the original film's directors, publicly criticized the remake. Hand went as far as to say that the new adaptation was insulting and that his father and Walt Disney would be turning in their graves. This statement from someone with direct ties to the original production lent weight to the criticisms and further fueled the growing controversy. In the wake of mounting backlash, what desperate moves did Zegler's team make to turn the tide and restore public faith in the Snow White project? As the criticism continued to grow and threaten not only Zegler's reputation, but potentially the success of the entire film project, it became clear that damage control was necessary. Zegler and her team recognized the need for a coordinated response to address the controversy and attempt to rehabilitate her image. Thus began what many in the industry refer to as an apology tour, a series of interviews, social media posts, and public appearances designed to address the controversy head-on and win back the goodwill of fans and industry insiders alike. In her public statements during this period, Zegler tried to shift the conversation back to the upcoming movie and the hard work of the entire cast and crew. She emphasized the collaborative nature of filmmaking and expressed her excitement for audiences to see the final product. Additionally, Zegler made efforts to engage directly with Disney fans, using social media platforms to address their concerns and share her genuine enthusiasm for being part of the Disney family. Could Zegler's efforts to smooth over the storm with positivity actually have fueled the fire of criticism instead? Despite these determined efforts, Zegler's apology tour failed to achieve its intended effect. In fact, in many ways, it seemed to backfire, further entrenching negative opinions and keeping the controversy alive in the public consciousness. Adding to the problem was an inconsistency in messaging that undermined the effectiveness of the apology tour. While Zegler expressed respect for the original film in some interviews, in others she continued to emphasize the need for updating the story for modern audiences. This inconsistency led many to question the genuineness of her apology and wonder where her true feelings lay. It also highlighted the challenges of maintaining a consistent message across multiple platforms and interviews, especially for a young actress still learning to navigate the complexities of media relations. Was Zegler's attempt at damage control doomed from the start due to her contradictory statements? Timing also played a crucial role in the failure of the apology tour. By the time Zegler and her team launched their coordinated response, the controversy had already gained significant momentum. Social media narratives had solidified, opinion pieces had been written, and competing narratives had taken root. In the fast-paced world of online discourse, being late to respond can make it nearly impossible to change the prevailing narrative. This delay allowed critics to frame the debate on their terms, putting Zegler and the film's defenders on the back foot from the start. Is the Snow White remake really disrespecting classic values, or is it pushing necessary boundaries? The backlash against Zegler and the subsequent failure of her apology tour also highlighted a significant generational and cultural disconnect in how different groups perceive classic stories and their adaptations. Younger audiences, who might be more receptive to modernized retellings of classic tales, found themselves at odds with older fans who valued tradition and fidelity to the original work. Zegler, as a young actress, found herself caught between these competing expectations, trying to appeal to new audiences while not alienating longtime fans of the Disney brand. This controversy raises important questions about the role of actors in promoting films, especially adaptations of beloved classics. While some argue that actors should stick to promoting the film without offering critiques of source material, others believe that actors have a right and responsibility to engage in meaningful discussions about the roles they play and the stories they help tell. Can actors really stay silent about their roles, or is it inevitable that their opinions will stir up controversy? The Zegler incident demonstrates the risks involved when actors venture into these discussions, especially before a film's release when the full context of their performance in the adaptation's approach is not yet available to the public. Navigating the legacy of classic films. The intense reaction to Zegler's comments also showcases the power and passion of fan communities, particularly those devoted to classic Disney properties. These fans can be a double-edged sword for studios, providing a built-in audience but also setting high expectations and reacting strongly to perceived slights against their beloved franchises. The incident serves as a reminder of the need for studios and actors to approach such properties with sensitivity and respect, recognizing the emotional investment fans have in these stories and characters. Is it possible for Disney to honor its legendary films while adapting them for today's critical and evolving audience? The studio must walk a fine line between honoring the legacy of their iconic films and evolving to reflect changing societal values and expectations. This balancing act is made all the more difficult by the intense scrutiny that comes with touching any beloved property, especially one as foundational to the Disney brand as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Can Rachel Zegler turn the tide of negative publicity into a comeback story that revitalizes her Hollywood prospects? As the dust settles on this controversy, questions remain about its long-term impact on both Rachel Zegler's career and the reception of the Snow White remake. While it's too early to determine the lasting effects on Zegler's career, the controversy has undoubtedly created challenges for the young actress. How she navigates the aftermath of this incident will be crucial in shaping her future in Hollywood. Some industry observers argue that this experience, though difficult, could ultimately make Zegler a more media-savvy and resilient performer, provided she can learn from the missteps and grow as both an actress and a public figure. Can the Snow White remake overcome its controversial shadow to deliver a film that wins over divided audiences? The controversy has also created additional pressure on the Snow White remake to deliver a film that can satisfy both those seeking a modern reinterpretation and fans of the classic version. The success or failure of the film may now be viewed through the lens of this pre-release controversy, potentially influencing critical reception and box office performance. Disney faces the challenge of marketing a film that has already generated significant discussion and division before its release, a task that will require careful messaging and perhaps a refocusing on the film's merits rather than the controversy surrounding it. Will Rachel Zegler's career recover from this controversy, or is her Hollywood dream fading away? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video intriguing, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more captivating stories from the entertainment world. Thanks for watching.